All right, so good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Nottingham Budget Committee, Thursday, October 4th, 2018. Just want to call the meeting to order, and if we can start with introductions.
Lee Lederer.
Jen Byron.
Hi, Rosalind Shelton.
Mishka Haddock, Chair.
Michael Keister, Vice Chair.
Tim DeBrio.
Erin Maxwell. Don Hollenberger.
So welcome. We have a couple of things to go over, basically budget review, workshop review, subcommittee reports. We're obviously tonight we're gonna have a school update from Rosalind, right? Yeah. Town updates, doesn't look like we have anybody from town tonight, so we will not have town updates. And then review the calendar and so on. But they have a couple positions still open on the budget committee. Two, I think, yeah. Right? One? Just one?
Yeah.
Ah, well, almost. Well, maybe not even one. We'll find out. So, John, if you want to step up to the table here and have a seat. And
He's not used to sitting here.
yeah, right. So, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would like to join the committee.
Well, I sat on my past years. I've done 6 years on zoning, 6 on planning. I am presently on the Board of Assessors. I also did on planning the 3 years for the CIP committee. I do sit on the board for the Lake Association for Pawtuckaway. But presently right now, though, I'm only on 2 boards. So, and with those other boards, I sit only meet once a month. So I do have the time. I know that is needed during this upcoming very busy schedule that the budget committee does have. So, you know, if you guys meet twice a week, that's not a problem for me. I can pretty much make every single meeting at 6:30 or 7. So my time is more than willing to give. I also would like to be on this because, you know, all the other boards, you learn a little bit about, meet more people in town, and you obviously get to learn more of how the town operates. And I don't know if that's a benefit that I've sat on so many other boards as to understanding how, I guess, the structure kind of works and what we're trying to accomplish. So I was hoping somebody else might be here to volunteer, because then I would have stepped back. I do believe people should volunteer for these positions. You know, as you see, I tend to volunteer a lot. But, so I would recuse myself from if somebody else was here to take the position. So if there's somebody that comes forward in the next couple of days or whatever, if you guys want to think about having me, then, you know, I don't mind stepping back if somebody else wants to volunteer, but I definitely would like to volunteer my time to sit on this board with you guys and know more about what the budget committee does.
Yep.
You know, it's a whole different process than the other boards. And
So it's a lot of questions and digging and you know, getting some reasoning or logistics or logical explanations for what people are doing and why and that kind of thing.
that was something what the CIP committee did when you were figuring out exactly what their future budgets are going to be and how they plan on allocating money and stuff like that. So I do have a fair understanding of what you guys are doing here, so I don't come in here, say, naive of knowing what we're trying to accomplish. You know, so. If you have any questions for me?
What do you do outside of volunteering for all these other things for the town?
I'm a salesman. I sell boat docks down in Hudson, New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
So I cannot get here anytime before 6 because of my travel time. But anytime after that, and me and my wife moved here 14 years ago, and my family's owned property on Pawtuckaway Lake since the 30s. So we have a long history in the town. So that's why I do believe in giving back.
Anybody have any questions?
Financial background?
I take care of the budget of my house. I mean, I understand how, you know, you know, town allocates money and does things.
It's not a prerequisite.
No, but I mean, I have an understanding. I'm definitely will be at a learning curve. You know, I'm sure as most people, in the first time you sat here, it's a bunch of you sitting there and wondering, wow, why is it being so much spent, or, you know, but as you said before, you know, I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid to be vocal and to, you know, put that question out there that, you know, some people might be afraid to ask, but, you know, and I know a fair amount of people on other boards and, you know, people in town from the fire, you know, and stuff, so I always thought I've had a good working relationship with people in town from the boards that I sat on, that were, you know, sometimes we ask questions that you don't want to ask, but it's prudent to ask the question, and you might not want to hear that answer, but that's part of what you're doing.
You are aware that if the Budget Committee appoints you to the open seat tonight, that's through the spring town meeting. That's the duration of that appointment.
Yep.
And then if you would like to continue on, you need to get your name on the ballot for the March election.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how that works.
You know, and again, if something, when that comes up too, if, you know, if somebody else was volunteering or running and that wanted to be on the board, I wouldn't mind, you know, using myself, or if somebody here had to leave and needed to stay on and run, I would be more than happy to do that too. Again, I believe everybody should volunteer, so I think it's just my part to try to help out fill the position, you know, especially coming into the time that we're coming in, you know, and everybody has busy schedules, so it's important to have as many people present as much as you can in order to, you know, get the right answers that we're all looking for.
I served with him on the
Yeah.
planning board.
Oh, good.
Sorry, CIP.
CIP, yeah.
Thank you.
Good, well, I don't have any other questions at this time.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint John Moran to the open position on the Budget Committee.
All in favor?
I am not a voting member.
You are? So?
Sure.
Because Jackie used to sit there, and I'm pretty sure she used to vote.
School board representative on the Budget Committee.
So I know I have to get sworn in first, so.
You'd have to get sworn in before you can join us on this beautiful table and be on TV, but, you know, that's an easy process. I think Dawn can give you all the details with that. Clerk and-
Yeah, I know, I'll go see.
Yeah, you've done it, you did it for the other committees as well, so welcome to the team.
Perfect. I'm gonna hang out for a while just to listen to you guys, and I might jet out a little early
You
to
could come up and
get from
this,
the,
but you can't vote.
Wait, yeah, you can come up, you just can't.
There's some
so,
extra,
I'll reach your paperwork.
play with the pencils on the Group W bench.
All right. So next item is the budget workshop review, which I think everybody went to, right?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't go? You didn't go all the way up?
I didn't. I went to Bartlett my first year, but I have not.
Yeah.
I did not get a chance to go this year.
So, huh?
Aaron didn't.
Oh, you didn't go either? So, it was, I thought it was a great meeting. There's always those attorneys that talk up there that, I mean, they know that stuff inside and out and forwards and backwards, and they always try to make it quite interesting. So it's always nice to learn some of the new updates and changes and things that come about. There's a lot to be absorbed at that meeting. So, anybody have any takes from that?
For me, it was just a good opportunity to learn a little bit more about the process, how everything works.
Yeah.
This is my first meeting, John. So it feels good not to be the newbie.
Yeah.
But it was nice to learn a little bit more about the process, the details, how everything works.
Yeah.
One thing that I got out of it was an update to procedures for the SB2 organizations, like our school board. They, to my understanding, will need to present with their first draft of the budget, the first draft of their default budget as well at that time. Did you get that too? That's how you understood that?
Yep, I did.
So that's brand new.
that should be fairly straightforward.
It's the default budget is just all the contractuals.
Did anybody have anything else with regards to the, so Don provided some good information here, the
information
default
from
budget,
the
frequently
Penn
asked
State,
questions with regards to, what comes up most commonly, and then basic law budgeting for towns like ours, so just the basic highlighted contents.
Take this over, bring it back to you next meeting.
A good recap of much of the stuff that was covered at the meeting. It was interesting to hear how some towns got in trouble for doing things that sounded perfectly normal, It was just processes and procedures. So we gotta stick to it.
So how many of you have gone to this meeting, the workshop, more than once? You have, right? Mike, you have?
Over 16 years, yeah.
Mike, do you mind bringing in last year's book?
That is last year's book.
That
It's
is
the
the
same one they published
It's been the same book for 3
pages.
years.
Yeah.
a few pages.
Yeah,
through
Yeah,
it.
do we have extra this here?
The next,
So it sounds like Mike may have last, did you go last
I
year?
didn't go last year.
I know last year's.
So do you mind bringing in your extra copy?
No, we can both, we can have both. You have one of these?
I do.
Oh, okay, perfect, then, never mind.
Yeah.
Just go with
I was gonna borrow his.
You missed the workshop, but they only offer it twice a year in September, so. But if Mission faculty might be extras, that way you'll have one, and Erin, if you go last year, no?
Oh, I thought you did.
Maybe we can find you a book where I'll grab up.
Sure we can.
We can share.
Yeah, I think they said, they made a comment at the meeting, I think that,
I think he's updating.
that's being reviewed this year, so next year there'll be new books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a lot. All right.
Grab extra copies.
Yeah, I know, right? I should have thought of that. Subcommittee reports. You said CIP hasn't even met yet.
I'm the CIP. Not that I haven't been receiving anything yet, so. It's Carol that's doing the.
Carol Martin.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Transportation.
No. All right, and it doesn't, not being here, but I think you, Don, you said you don't think that they've met either, the transportation committee for the school buses and stuff?
They
You know,
haven't met,
Russell?
have they?
Not that I know.
No, yeah.
I'm not on the committee, but
Yeah.
I asked for committee reports last night, and there's no.
And I haven't heard any for months, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay. So I know there's definitely a shortage
Yep. So
of
we're
bus
down.
drivers and all that kind of stuff. I think the girls softball team was about an hour and a half late for their game the other day because they had to wait for one of the buses to finish their routes before the bus could come back and then take them up to Farmington, I think it was, or something.
wow.
So, but they got their games in, so. Yeah.
They had lights on the field.
It was indoors, thankfully,
Oh,
but,
okay.
yeah. So, all right, the spotlight is on you, Rosalind. School updates. We didn't have
Take it
any
easy
school
on her.
updates last time, so.
Yes, so we finished the year with an unassigned fund balance of $306,956.27. We, as you know, implemented full-day kindergarten, and that is going well. Our numbers, so we had more kindergarten students than we anticipated, because there's really no way to really know. You pre-register them, but then if additional kids come, then you
Mhm.
take them. And so we ended up with 46 kindergarten students. And so having 23 in each classroom was too much because kindergarten students need a lot more assistance. So we split them into 3 classrooms, which meant that we needed an additional teacher, an additional room, an additional paraprofessional. And so we were able to do all of that. But that also meant that we had to consolidate another class. And so we consolidated, I believe it was the 2nd grade. Yes, we consolidated the 2nd grade. So we brought a 2nd grade teacher, Kelly LaPointe, down from 2nd grade to become a kindergarten teacher. And we now have 2 streams in 2nd grade. And each class, one class has 20 and one class has 21. So it's not ideal. It's a bigger number than we would have liked, but it's better to have a bigger number for 2nd grade than for kindergarten, because kindergartners need a lot more assistance.
Have you guys discussed if it's gonna follow the 2nd grade class, or
Well-
how that's?
Well, 2nd grade is not even it's not our bubble. Our bubble is 5th grade. So we
Yeah.
have 74 students in the 5th grade. So
That's the thing
it's approaching a place where we have to figure out what we're going to do. So something like 25 students per class. So, yeah, so every year we're trying to figure out, what we're doing. And again, the beautiful thing about public school is that we take everybody. And so when people show up in October and November and, we take them. So it's hard to anticipate. Hard to anticipate. So altogether, we have 504 K-8 students, and that's excluding homeschool students. As I said, 46 kindergarten students, 74 5th graders. Again, it's important to note that because that's our bubble. It's much bigger than the other grades. The other grades have something like 40 or 50, so 74 is significantly bigger. We have 255 high school students. 87 of our Nottingham school students go to Dover. 151 go to Co-Brown. And I don't know if you guys heard, but the way the numbers have been going, more and more, a greater percentage of our students have been going to Co-Brown every year. And last year, for the first time in probably 5 years, that changed. And so last year, we had 43 ninth graders go to Dover, and we had 26 ninth graders go to Co-Brown. So it completely flipped. The year before, we had approximately 16 students go to Dover, and 45 go to Co-Brown.
Could that be because of the brand new high school Dover just put in?
Definitely, yeah.
It absolutely does. Some of the students are really wowed by the school. Dover also does really well. They have a lot of AP courses.
They have a good vote program too,
They
don't
do.
they?
They have fantastic cosmetology program and the culinary arts program, and the building really supports all of that. They have a welding program. I mean, what they do very well, very well. And again, they have a really a large number of AP courses also because it's such a big school. And so the presentation that they did last year really did wow the students. And the building wows the students. So, so we've completely reversed. But as it is, we still have 151 students at Co-Brown and 87 at Dover. So we'll see if the trend continues. And the difference between the tuitions is something like $2,200. So there's a budgetary impact of the change. So
22 in favor of Dover being less, correct?
yes, yep. So and this year we're going to budget for as if all of the students are going to Co-Brown, and then so that way we know that we have all of the students covered, because again we don't know how it's, there's just no way. And even up till tonight, even up until last night, I was signing change of school forms. So if someone decides to go from Dover to Co-Brown, we then, then we're incurring that cost. I think that's pretty much everything.
It's impressive. So, yeah, the school is pretty incredible. The new building. If you haven't been up there, it's worth taking a spin up there and taking a look around. It's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing.
Huge difference.
Yeah, it's beautiful and bright, and and I know when it snows, it's not going to feel dark or anything.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and they haven't even fully moved in yet.
No, there's a lot of unfinished space still.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of areas for students to work together.
Yep.
And a lot of breakout rooms for teachers and small group work. It's really well done.
Yeah, I'm being part of the technical school or whatever. It's, it gives a lot of these kids opportunities that, if they don't want to go to college, they can still get out and have a career. Yeah. Yep. Which is really great.
You can also finish and be an LNA.
Yep.
So you can go right out into the workforce. They've done a great job.
When they anticipated how many were going to Co-Brown last spring, did that change much over the summer? Is that what they actually realized, or did they?
No. So we asked for
More
the
shift.
forms to be remitted in December, I believe, and so the majority of the forms were in December, January, February. I signed, so the only reason I know that some of them were late is because I became chair in March, and so I signed quite a few of them. But we usually know by March, April who's going where, and I don't think that very many students switched from one school to the other over the summer. I think once they got to the schools and school started, people started switching.
Oh, they switched after they started?
After they started.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
After
And are they
started.
going both ways, or are they mostly going over back to CBNA, or?
The two that I can remember have gone from CBNA to Dover. So there's also, some of it is about families. So if your older sibling goes there, then you're more likely to go there. But there's a whole group of friends who went there and encouraged other kids to go with them. And so in some families that wouldn't matter, but in these families that mattered. And so you hear lots of parents saying, you have one sibling at CBNA, but this person wanted to follow their friends to Dover. And
It's a strain on the family, that's for sure.
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Different teacher workshop days,
Different school start dates?
Yep.
Everything. Oh,
Yeah,
my
different open houses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the extra bus stop, isn't there a new one going to Dover? Did that maybe even help the families and kids make it easier for them to be able to go to?
What's the new stop, up at the square?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that no one made their decision based on that, but it does help. It definitely helps.
Anybody have any questions?
I mean, I can tell you whatever you need to know. I just wasn't sure what to.
Yeah, no, this is all great information, so I think that, I look forward to seeing, what comes of it. I think, when is we were anticipating, I think, the final budget back in July, and then there was a delay in some of the payments that were
Right,
due
so
to go out and so on. When can we see the budget?
So, do you mean
The
us
final-
closing out
The
the
closing,
books?
yeah, the
Okay.
final books for last year.
So he did close them out, I believe it was September 16th.
Okay,
And so I'm happy to give it to you at the next meeting.
It's on your schedule.
Yeah, it's on there for October 18th, I think you have it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so,
And that date.
no, I just want to make sure that we get a chance to look at them and ensure that, you know, there's no, good. Well, thank you, Rosa. Town updates, we have nobody from the town here, so, no town updates. We kind of reviewed before the, with our technical difficulties over there, reviewed the calendar. And thank you, Dawn, for putting this together. The proposed meeting schedule. So I think the one in question is the December 27th, being that it falls right between the two holidays. So we'll have to take a look at that as we get a little bit closer and see what, you know, see who's going to be around, and if it needs to be changed, we'll change it and so on. So, anybody have any other comments regarding the calendar?
I have a conflict on January 17th, but
Well, no.
that's the only one I know of.
So the only other date for your December 27th meeting really is bumping it back to December 20th. Those are your only two options if you want to have a second draft of the budget. Otherwise, you go from first draft to final on January 3rd with your public hearing on the 10th.
Would we even have anything for you on the 20th?
You would, but you wouldn't get the documents until that night.
Right. Unless we did it on a different night of the week, just for that week, because
And you can.
we need to get it done, so. All right, we'll have to take a look at that as we get closer.
So I think for now, when I post this, the dates that I'm going to remove will be December 27th and the date of the deliberative unless you guys decide today. Roz, that's usually a date that you guys, as a school board, decide upon.
Okay.
The only day I would ask that you not do it on is the 7th, if you wanted to have anybody.
Right, no, I feel fairly comfortable speaking for the board and saying we will not do it on the 7th, because we need the budget committee to be there.
And unfortunately for the SB2 and the school board have a really tough job in trying to fit the deliberative session in. Their dates run Saturday to Saturday.
Yeah.
So. Not so
All right.
convenient.
All right. Approval of minutes. I don't know if anybody's had the chance to, we just have the minutes from the July 26th. We will, if you would, we do have access, I think you all saw it on the shared drive from previous meetings, to just read through them and see if you have any edits. You can make the edits right there and then update those. And then we can approve those minutes at the next meeting, since we don't have them in front of us. But if you haven't had a chance to read through them, let's read through these minutes and make any updates as you see fit or necessary.
So the only edit, I believe, is on page 3, under other business. And under section A, it's the second sentence was added. Is your guys' in color?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, mine is not, for whatever reason. So one of you, I think, may have only a black and white copy. You do, and then, of course, the other two, motion by, and then the vote is struck out. did others try it? Did you guys like this format?
Mhm.
Did you?
I'm comfortable using
Yep.
electronic.
Okay,
Yeah, I liked it.
all right.
And I found no edits, so I didn't even catch that part that you edited yourself, so. Is there a way to tell on there who has edited and who hasn't and stuff? I don't.
That's what I was struggling with this tonight. I think there is, that edit happens to be mine, so I think I'd like to do, I'll go back and look at the February ones. Jen, I think you might have made some.
I did make, yeah, for the February. I didn't get a chance to review these, though. I honestly slipped my mind.
And Lee, I saw a message from you, but I
No,
didn't
there was no edits
see-
to make, and I wasn't sure. Because of that, I just announced everything, aside from your edit, Jen, looked fine.
And I think I made some edits, but I don't know how they, I haven't used Google Docs, so it's,
So let me
I
go
think
back.
my edits may have just gone in as corrections instead of showing that something actually changed.
And I'm still, we don't use Google Docs very much, so I'm still kind of learning this, so if anyone else has pointers about how to turn that on.
I've got teenagers, they'll figure it out.
Have them call me. I'll take a tutorial, they can sit down, show me,
Yeah. But it's definitely handy to be able to, I just pulled it up, I had, 10 minutes here and start reading through it and can jump back to something else, come back to it. And it's nice to be able to just type in the edits as you're
It makes it so much easier.
going. All right, do we have a motion to accept the minutes as edited?
A motion.
Second? All in favor of accepting the minutes of July 26th?
Abstain.
Roundtable. Anybody have any topics or things that they would like to bring to the table? I think the one, John, thank you for volunteering yet again to a committee on the town and sharing your knowledge and expertise with all of us. Yeah, the only other thing I want to bring up is obviously everybody's talking about the 300th anniversary coming up. There's a lot of planning going on. There's a lot of just stuff happening that the committee, I think they met yesterday or day before yesterday, they're obviously looking for ideas, looking for volunteers, and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a pretty big event. I think we share it with 2 other towns. Chester and I forget the third one. You remember the third one? I don't remember. I keep looking at you for the answers. Yeah, so that's the only thing I've got right now. Michael?
Not really budget committee related, but I know that the fire department has an open house coming up this Sunday, during which time there was a plan, and we probably need to confirm, I expect with Sandy Vilchuk, for details around time of it. But she intends to hold a CPR class for anybody that wants to wander in and refreshed on what they thought they knew or get introduced to CPR. It won't be a certificated program, but it will certainly be educational for anybody that would like to get that
She
refreshed
teaches
or
she teaches it for the Boy Scouts. So the Boy Scouts do it up at the fire department. The fire department is actually the sponsor of Nottingham Troop 167 Boy Scouts. So they used to do their meetings down here at the end of the hall, and the fire department felt like their baby, so they're now doing their meetings over at the firehouse every Thursday. I think it's every Thursday. So they're running. Placards are coming. I guess there's food pantry collections coming up, and then Christmas wreaths are coming up on the corner. Did I just say Christmas? It's only October. Well, a lot of things going on. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add? No.
I know Nottingham Day was moved back to the fall.
Back to the fall, yes. And it's still going to incorporate Earth Day?
Yeah.
So it's Nottingham Day, Earth Day is still going to be one day, but instead of in the May, it's going to be in October?
September.
Yeah. What was the reasoning behind all of that?
Change.
Yeah,
Well, attendance was down
right.
last year. This year.
I think there was
the weather actually wasn't that bad.
I think it was forecasted to be terrible, but maybe it wasn't as bad as they thought, but it was supposed.
I think from what I noticed anyway, was I think the biggest problem was that all the spring sports were at the same time. And so everybody was off.
So you mean the May? How did they do this for September?
The time of Earth Day.
No, they were not.
Trying to get as close as possible.
I was so bad.
They couldn't do it in April because the field was.
Yeah,
Got it.
exactly.
We liked Nottingham Day in September. We were very disappointed.
I think about it. But now, and then when is the craft fair?
That's in November.
That's in November. At the school.
Saturday before Thanksgiving.
But the Youth Association came up to an agreement with the rec center for their fishing derby, because apparently the fishing derby was very poorly attended. So there will be no softball and baseball games the day of the fishing derby in the morning. They won't start until 2 in the afternoon.
It kind of messed up the parking arrangements too, didn't it?
Yeah, so those are all sorts of issues, but all worked out and ironed out for 2019, so.
The holiday craft fair is the 17th of November.
Good. Anything else from?
Second it.
All in favor? All right, thank you all, we'll see you on the.
Thank you.